and then we'll be live. Okay, we are live on YouTube. Welcome to this licensing subcommittee in relation to Buckton Fields Tesco. First port of call is to appoint a chair. Could I have a proposer for a chair?
Can I propose Mike Warren, Councillor Warren?
And could I have a seconder?
I second Mike Warren.
Okay, in that case, Councillor Mike Warren has been duly appointed as chair of this subcommittee hearing. Over to you, Councillor.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. The other members of the subcommittee this morning are Councillors Bearsworth and Councillor Holland Delamere. Can I ask members of the committee if they have any interest to declare and the nature of such interests?
None, Chair.
None, Chair.
Thank you very much. Firstly, just some matters of housekeeping. We have some members or participants of the meeting today that are actually in council offices. So there is a possibility that the fire alarm goes. If that's the case, they will have to leave the meeting and we will have to adjourn it. Hopefully that will not happen. Can I please ask for any mobile phones to be switched to silent? And these proceedings are being recorded and streamed live on YouTube. The hearing today is to consider representations for the Tesco's at Buckton Fields. Can I ask all those present today if they've received the agenda and understood the procedures for the hearing today?
Yes, Chair.
Yes, Chair.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Can I ask all those that are present to introduce themselves? I'll actually go across the screen for myself. Councillor Bearsworth.
Councillor Bearsworth, I'm Councillor for Kingsthorpe South.
And Councillor Holland Delamere.
Councillor Keith Holland Delamere for Billingham Rectory Farm.
And our legal advisor this morning.
Roxana Munir.
Thank you. And our licensing officer today. You're on mute, Martin.
Yeah, Martin O'Connor, apologies.
Okay, thank you. And Democratic Services this morning.
Richard Woods, Democratic Services Officer.
Thank you. And we've got representative from Tesco's this morning.
Hello, it's Dan. I'm the store manager.
Okay. And we have Herdis Purwell, is it?
Yeah, that's right. Hadish Purwell. I hope my internet's okay. It's already kind of looking a little bit wavering, so I hope we're going to work through it. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. And was that Dan, was it?
Jono.
Yeah, I think Dan was the store manager from Tesco. My name is Jono. I'm a resident of Buckton Fields.
Right, thank you very much indeed. Right. Can I ask the licence officer to outline the report today, please?
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is to consider an application for a new premises licence in accordance with Section 16 of the Licensing Act 2003 made by Tesco Stores Limited in respect of a Tesco store at Buckton Fields at Unit 1, New Local Centre, Buckton Fields, Northampton. The application, which can be found at Appendix A of your report, was received by West Northamptonshire Council on the 5th of January 2022. The premises are intended for the use as a retail premises, i.e. small supermarket, selling a range of goods and services. This includes the sale of alcohol by retail for the consumption off premises from a sale area shown on the plan at Appendix B. The licensable activities applied for in the application are late night refreshment between the hours of 2300 hours and midnight, Monday to Sunday, and the sale of alcohol by retail, Monday to Sunday, 6 in the morning till midnight. The proposed designated premises supervisor is Mr. Stephen Andrzejczuk, a holder of a personal licence issued by North Hertfordshire District Council. Opening times will mirror those of the alcohol sales as per the application. When an application for a new premises licence or club premises certificate is received, the applicant must display a blue notice at or near the premises and serve a copy of the application on the responsible authorities, although in this case, the application was served electronically and that was the responsible of the of us as the local authority to serve those copies on the other responsible authorities. This gives the responsible authorities and any member of the public the opportunity to make written representations in relation to the application to the local authority within 28 calendar days of receiving a notice or the date on which the notice was first displayed at or near the premises. The last date for making relevant representations in relation to this application was the 2nd of February 2022. The notice was displayed at the premises and notification of the application was published in the Northants Chronicle and Echo as verified by licensing officers. West Northamptonshire Council have received 2 relevant representations from residents, and these can be seen at Appendix C of your report. There have been no representations from any of the responsible authorities. The Council is also required to send a notice of the hearing to all persons and responsible authorities that have submitted a relevant representation and request confirmation of their intention to attend. A notice of the hearing was sent to the following persons as well as the applicant on the 2nd of February 2022, to Tesco Store Limited, to Suzanne Ferncombe, a resident, and to Stephen Bennett, a local resident. Suzanne Ferncombe can't attend today, but Mr. John O'Byrne is in her place, and Mr. Stephen Bennett unfortunately can't attend, but wishes his original representation to be taken into consideration. A plan of the premises layout is at, as I said, is at location Appendix B. Your options in relation to this must be considered in line with the 4 licensing objectives: the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, the prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. As you can see at Section 8 of this report, there were no financial and resourcing implications from this application, and the legal implications and your options with regard to your decisions around this application can be found in Section 9. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can I ask members of the subcommittee if they have any questions to ask of the licensing officer on his report?
No, Chair.
No. Okay, thank you. Can I ask the applicant, I think, to present their case, please?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So thank you for hearing this application, which is for a new store, which is on a site with 2 other retail premises. And we're looking to open the store at the back end of this year. So if I start by telling you a little bit about Tesco and then move on to some of the policies and procedures that we have to support this application and give confidence to the local community, especially those that have kind of put representations in. So across the board, we've got 2,800 stores with about 300,000 colleagues that work for Tesco. We have 2 formats. We have the large format and then the convenience format. The large format you'll see is the extras and the superstores, and this is a part of our convenience format. So it's planned to be an express. The express market is a convenience market for top-up shops, and there's a very limited and targeted range to what the needs of the local community are. Alcohol is a small but important part of the overall business. The store will employ about 20 colleagues and 3 managers, so a mixture of full-time and part-time staff, and there'll be roles for people in the community ahead of other people. So we expect to have a mixture of experienced people come across from other stores, as well as roles for people in the local community. And recruitment will start about 4 weeks before the store is due to open. We take pride in being a good neighbour, and in this constituency, we've given a number of projects, over £218,000 through the Tesco community grants, and donated 40,000 meals through the community food connection. So examples of where this money has gone, we've got the Abbey Church of England Academy, the British Red Cross, 3 Ford Food for You, the Daventry Dolphin Swimming Club, and Kilsby Primary School. So just a few examples of where some of the community money has gone. Locally, we will be happy to join any residents groups or any business groups. And I think it's quite important in this area where residents have kind of raised concerns. Would be happy to join groups, or if individuals have concerns, then we're happy to kind of work those through once a store manager is appointed. We work closely with the police, and as already been said, there were no issues or concerns raised by the police. And should any issues arise, then again we'll work with any parties that have raised the issues. In terms of how we operate nationally, we take the responsibility in how we sell alcohol very seriously, and we champion and follow best practice. We've got a very good relationship with the statutory authorities. I chair a retail alcohol standards group that looks at best practice as an industry, where we all of the larger supermarkets, as well as representations for the smaller supermarkets, we offer free posters and give guidance to the smaller independent retailers as well. We're also involved in community alcohol partnerships, and there's a local one that runs in Corby, which tackles underage drinking. And that's, again, working with local authorities to look at where there's hotspots and bringing all the retailers in that area in with a commitment to make sure that we've got a policy such as Think 25 in place. We also train independent retailers as well in conflict and in Think 25 training. Again, centrally, we work with the Portman Group, the Home Office and the Department of Health as well. We also have a relationship with the Primary Authority, who endorse all of our processes and procedures, and we go to them for constant advice as things change in this world all the time. Just briefly talking through our training. So our training has been endorsed by the BII as what excellent looks like. All training is documented and has an audit compliance, as you would expect from us. There's an induction. So when somebody first joins Tesco's, there's an induction in which there's role play and discussion-based exercises, particularly based around how alcohol is sold. Then further on, we get more our team will get more checkout training and how alcohol is sold through the checkouts. In the aisle as well, about how we present alcohol in the aisle and what to look for if people are picking alcohol up. We have refresher training twice a year, and we also have training around security, which is called Eyes Wide Open, and that's around focusing on what, I guess, somebody who's going to come in and shoplift and what to look for, and without escalating the situation. Fundamental to everything is our Think 25 policy, and that's that's around you stop, you assess, you ask age, and then you check the ID. And we only have approved ID, which is anything with the pass logo, passport, driving license, that we accept. We also train our teams around how to spot somebody who is drunk, and then and the support that you can get from managers around that, and a similar training around proxy selling. So if somebody over 18 is buying alcohol for somebody underage, we advise our teams about the kind of things to look for so that doesn't happen. The training, there's also a section on the responsible retailing in which the licensing objectives are covered. I guess most importantly, we empower and encourage our colleagues to make the right decision, and we support the decisions that they make. So we have a you say no, we say no policy. On checkouts, there is a checkout prompt so when alcohol is scanned, the checkout will freeze and a message comes up with a date of birth on that checkout. So there you can't scan anything else through until you've checked that the customer who's buying the alcohol is over 18. In terms of security, we'll have cameras around the store, and we have a panic alarm system as well. All the high value items are tagged and spirits are kept behind the counter. We also have our teams with body cams, and they have headsets so that they can communicate to each other very quickly. On the back of that, there's a central team that support everything that's done in store. So we have a licensing team, a compliance team that will do audits and checks, a security team. And as I discussed before, we've also got the primary authority relationship. The police will make us aware if there's any issues raised. And again, we've had no issues raised. Our range in this store will be, we don't have any miniatures, so any spirits are kept behind the counter, and all the promotions are national promotions, so there won't be any local promotions. We have consolidated delivery, so if we're granted a license, we don't have any additional deliveries come to the store. They're consolidating in our existing in our existing deliveries. The late night refreshment license for a cost scheme, but actually what I do want to do is amend the hours of this application to 7 till 11, because we have planning hours that the store can only open 7 till 11, and although actually it doesn't matter, planning and licensing are different, and we would only be able to open those hours. So even if we were granted a license 6 till midnight, we could only open 7 till 11. So there's no requirement for the late night refreshment license either. Moving on to, I want to thank the residents to kind of drawing our attention to kind of local issues in the area. And like I said before, the store manager, once appointed, will be happy to work with the community and be the key contact for any issues. The dialogue that's when dialogue between the residents and the store can start, and we will work with residents, because we're not there to kind of cause upset, and definitely if they experience some antisocial behaviour or anything that's kind of been suggested in their representations, then we will do what we can. And that could be anything from asking customers to leave quietly, once they leave our store. But we're not expecting, I guess, we're not expecting a huge amount of alcohol sales at that later into the evening. But but generally around our stores, we don't get a lot in this area. And I'm sure Dan can support if you've got any questions around it. We don't tend to get a lot of antisocial behaviour because we won't accept it outside our stores. So if we do get that, we plan to kind of work very quickly to stamp it out. And I guess and that goes for where there's talk of large groups congregating outside the store, we would ask those people to move on and not encourage that congregation. I guess just looking at that, there was nothing in your statement of licensing policy to say that our opening hours shouldn't be granted, and generally you take a positive view to say that a licensed premises will be permitted to sell alcohol during the hours that they will open. And again, I would just draw your attention to the section 182 guidance, that unless there's kind of good reason or evidence, then the opening hours should be granted. I guess that's kind of a very quick whistle, believe it or not, a quick whistle stop tour of some of the things that we do, and myself and Dan would be happy to kind of answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much indeed. Can I ask subcommittee members if they have any questions of the Tesco's representatives?
Yes, please, Chair.
Yeah, yes, Sally.
Thank you. Thank you for very full and interesting what you've got forward today. But also I wanted to ask you about delivery times of vehicles, because although the hours are 7 till 11, we don't really want people being woken up at sort of 5 o'clock in the morning with delivery. So will the deliveries be through the day so that there's not too much disruption for the residents?
So the delivery times have already been agreed with planning, and I believe that they are 6 till 11 Monday to Saturday, and then 8 till 4:30 on a Sunday.
Okay.
So they're the times that we've been given. Normally there's it gets slotted in, so the delivery won't just be for that one store, it'll be for a number of expresses in that area. So they're the times that we have with planning.
Okay, thank you.
And also it's a smaller truck. It's not one of our great big Arctic, the ones that deliver to the larger stores. It'll be a smaller truck, and we've done a lot of work with making sure that the noise, the engine noise is as low as it possibly can be.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Keith, do you have any questions?
I just welcome the clarification of the new hours.
Yeah, I concur with that, and I don't actually have any questions at this time. So thank you for that. Can I ask Mr. O'Brien if he could outline his objections, please?
Thank you very much, Councillor. So our objections were what Martin really touched on earlier, with the prevention of the crime and disorder, prevention of public nuisance, and the prevention of children from harm. So just touching on each one, as it is a heavy residential area, we were concerned with the public disorder that may come as a result of congregation of groups of youths, and being a new hangout spot, and an area that they can at any stage of the day up until 11 p.m. I concur with the guy said about the welcome of the extra reduced hour in the evening, which is very welcomed. But it's a very family estate. We've lived there for a year or so now, and it's while we really welcome the addition of amenities, and it's something that is absolutely needed with the scale of the development, we are just conscious of what it will bring with it. And I was going to just ask, you did say that you could ask them to leave, but we all know that the types of youths and that generation that hang around there or would feel the need at 11 o'clock to be out won't really take too kindly to being asked to leave. And I'm sure that will only provoke and antagonize as opposed to be received well and leave them moving on. But the public nuisance, the one for us, well, I think Councillor Beardsworth said it as well, with the morning times. We have a 2-year-old daughter whose bedroom is at the front of our property, and any noise or any trucks, cars, anything in addition will absolutely cause a inconvenience to us. So that's the concerns we really have. And then the children from harm thing is the fact that she's 2 years of age. She likes to go and play outside, whereas we're going to be bringing a hell of a lot more traffic to the area, into Home Farm Drive, which will potentially cause harm to her, and it will deem it unsafe that to go and play outside in the front garden will now become a busy road as opposed to the quite residential road that it is. So those are our concerns in summary.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. O'Brien. Subcommittee members, did you have any questions of Mr. O'Brien?
No, just basically, Chair, through you, just to say we all welcome the new hours. We think they're more fitting to a residential area. Fortunately, it went to planning last night, so it got sorted there. But it was one of the suggestions we would have made here. So I think we can't do anything about your daughter playing in the front garden, but hopefully, I do live in the area, and I know that the people at Spring Park use their convenience store a lot, and there's never too much problems when I go up there. So I'm hoping this will be the same.
Okay, Keith.
I have no questions, Chair.
Okay, Mr. O'Brien, do you have any questions to ask of the Tesco's representatives here today?
Not particularly. Just the one thing I want to touch on, what Hardish commented on, that they would ask them to, what is the procedure bar from asking to move on? Should you be met with resistance? Is it straight to phoning the police? You did mention you had security with body cams and that. Will that be positioned in the store? Is there going to be a full-time security officer there?
The security is always done on a risk assessment, so and that's constantly monitored. So even if the store opens without security, then it's constantly monitored with stats that we take from police and our own incidences as well. We're not there to those people that will be troublesome to you as residents will also be troublesome to us and our teams in that store. We want to keep our teams safe as well as our community, the environment around us safe. So I talked about, I guess that's stage one, which is we kind of ask people to leave, or we ask people to leave quietly. If they carry on making antisocial behavior in the area, then we will work with the police and we will just not sell them anything from our store. So we would, if they're causing problems in the community, we would work with the police so that we move them away if there's a certain group that you're particularly worried about. Does that help? But again, Mr. O'Brien, I guess we need to work together, because there may be things we will be able to see things outside of our store, but what we won't see is people further away. So we kind of just need to be able to kind of work together, because there will be some things that we can do and there'll be some things that the residents can do as well, and some stuff that the police can do too.
I completely agree. And do you know what? It's one of those things that we're talking about a worst case scenario that we may not even come to. It's only for ourselves that we have reassurance that we hope that we'll never even get to the stage that there is people gathering and things like that. But should there be, that there's a strategic and a stringent process that you guys implement to reduce it as best we can.
Okay. If I just explain that, one of our KPIs is community. So that's how, you've got kind of profits and it's a circle, that everything is as important as each other. So community is really important for us. And I hope that I've managed to kind of get that across to you.
Oh, very welcome, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Do you have any questions of Mr. O'Brien at all?
Sorry, are you asking me?
Yes, sorry.
Chair? Oh,
yes,
okay.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I welcome the opportunity to be working together in the area.
Okay, thank you very much. Subcommittee members, do you have any other questions to ask? No.
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I ask the licensing officer to sum up, please?
Yes, I mean, sorry, is that me? I'm just.
No.
Sorry.
Talking to the licensing officer.
Okay.
Chair, as you've heard my report. That was the application as it came in. You've since heard that planning has had an impact on that, and that the hours of operation will now be 7 till 2300 hours, and that does negate the need for the late night refreshment to be part of the application, as you know, a late night refreshment is only required after 2300 hours. So yes, so that basically the application is changed in that respect by the hours, which are obviously more welcome to everybody, and that is all I have extra to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Can I ask the applicant if they could sum up, please?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Chair. Since I gave a very comprehensive overview, I don't have very much more to say, except that I guess I would like you to consider that there's been no police representation, and appropriate weight should be given to that in line with the Section 182 guidance. And again, Section 182 guidance says that licensing hours should be granted to meet the trading hours. And the Thwaites case clearly states that not to limit the hours without establishing it was necessary to do so to meet the licensing objectives. And each application needs to be granted on its own merit. So I know there's been a bit of speak about competition. So it doesn't matter what other businesses are doing in the area. But I'm sure that your legal advisor will be able to give you a lot more detail and support around all of that. And that's all I have. And thank you for hearing the application.
Thank you very much indeed. Mr. O'Brien, would you like to sum up at all?
No, nothing further. I'm all fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Can I ask both the applicant and the objectors if you've had sufficient opportunity to say everything you've wished to the subcommittee today?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Can I ask our legal officer if they wish to make any comments?
Chair, no comments.
Okay, thank you. What we'll do today, the decision, we will retire now to make our decision, and you will be informed within 5 working days of our decision. You will also be given full information of any appeal you wish to make, which will be within 21 days. I'd like to thank you all very much for attending today, and I call a meeting to